Hawaii. An abundance of sounds, textures, colors, tastes, and smells. Our people, the mindset, our culture. These are a reflection of Aina, the land. In Hawaii, life grows from every corner, beneath every rock. Growing up here, we picked fresh fruit right off the trees. Tea brewed from the leaves of mamaki, an ancient herbal superleaf, is part of life in the islands, as it's been for people living here for centuries. And when I was pregnant, I chose to drink mamaki tea for its health benefits. As our ohana grew, I wanted to find a way to drink mamaki tea effortlessly, with wholesome ingredients people could recognize and without any sugar. So we made it. What started out as a small project grew larger and larger, growing from a few stores in the islands to stores across the continent. Every day, we're sharing our home with thousands of families. Championing sustainable agriculture, restoring native ecosystem habitats, and supporting our community of farmers, paying them premium prices for premium tea leaves. And we're giving back to Aina, the land that's given us life. At Shaka Tea, we're passionate about creating great tasting tea brewed with mamaki leaves. And we're excited about sharing our home with the world.
Thank you so much for letting me share that video. Aloha and good morning. My name is Bella Hughes, and I'm the co-founder and president of Shaka Tea. So Shaka is this hand symbol. We use it here in the islands, and it means take it easy. It's all right. We use it to signal lane change. A little bit about our company you've learned through that video. And the whole passion behind Shaka Tea started when I lived off island. I was born and raised here. And when I was away for nearly a dozen years, I realized the tremendous power of the Hawaiian brand, but the lack of authentic products in the market that actually had ties to the islands. And at the same time, I was craving something that was full flavor and zero sugar. So as you heard, when I was pregnant, this idea came to life, and my husband and co-founder Harrison Rice and I launched this in 2016. What's distinctive about us is, as you heard, we're brewed with the mamaki leaf. And what we really bring to the table is filling a white space, because we have a tea that is full flavored and gently sweetened with monk fruit, but that results in a 0-calorie, 0-gram sugar product, whether someone is on a keto diet, a plant-based diet, diabetic or pre-diabetic, or just in general wants to lower their sugar intake. Shaka Tea fits right in. We're a clean label product, and we're really honored to have won the American Masters of Taste Gold Superior Taste Test Award. So it means that other people not related to us actually are endorsing our product for its taste. And so when you're looking at the market today, the biggest shift in the American diet is absolutely the move away from sugar and the decline of big soda, which is really where we come in with our teas. At the same time, as many of you know, sugar has been hiding in nearly every single product for the past 50 years. So using monk fruit, a fruit that is naturally 0-gram sugar, it is 200 to 300 times sweeter than sugar, results in us really hitting a sweet spot where we are able to get reformed soda drinkers as well as customers that have always been into health and mindfulness. So our big purpose is really rooted in our community. What many of you might not know is that Hawaii has some of the highest cost of living and lowest wages in the nation. When I was a little girl, we had a ton of big ag. It was pineapple and sugarcane. Those industries have since been moved off island to more emerging markets and countries that are frankly cheaper to do business in. And this leaves a huge void. We have such an abundant of mineral-rich volcanic soil, thousands and thousands of acres of ag land, but not a lot of high value crops that can be sustainably grown and actually pay local farmers what they need to live abundant lives. And that's really where we come in with mamaki. Mamaki is an endemic plant only found and grown in the Hawaiian archipelago. We've been championing the growth of the mamaki industry. And by the end of 2020, we will have given away 25,000 seedlings to small farmers located right here on Hawaii Island, also known as the Big Island, to help them grow mamaki. As they're growing mamaki, not only are they able to be paid a premium price point, and we dry and process all our mamaki right here in Hilo, but they also are able to restore native ecosystem habitat. And that's because mamaki is the host plant for our native and endangered pulelehua butterfly, also known as the kamehameha butterfly. So every time they're planting more mamaki, they're restoring that native ecosystem and creating habitat for this pollinator butterfly to thrive. It's also really exciting because we are first to market nationally as well as in Japan with a ready-to-drink mamaki herbal tea. So when you look again at teas on the market, we are completely distinctive, not only with our unique hero ingredient story, but absolutely being a sweetened tea with that 0-gram sugar. Most sweet teas on the market tend to have a ton of calories, carbs, and sugar. And what we've been seeing is it's this flavor profile as well as the low, no sugar movement in the beverage set that has enabled Shaka Tea to truly win on shelf, especially during a challenging COVID year. So when we look at our SPINS data, and we're really lucky to be at a point we're in right now 2,000 stores. As we enter next year, we're approved into 10,000 more doors that we actually can pull SPINS data. And when you're looking at SPINS data as a whole in the MULO multi-outlet channel, what you're seeing is that naturally positioned tea, which our tea falls in, is growing 3 times faster than conventional. And caffeine-free is huge. I personally am a mom. This brand started when I was pregnant. I didn't want to take caffeine in, but I also suffer from insomnia. And, one of the things I know myself and so many of our customers, which tend to be about 77% women, talk about is that whilst they do have caffeine, they really cut it off at a certain time of day because getting good sleep is hard. And we've seen that our product, the primary usage occasion is that afternoon pick-me-up beverage that the whole family can enjoy. So really exciting to see in terms of tea, herbal teas like mamaki that are naturally caffeine-free are growing 9 times faster. And when we pulled the SPINS data specifically to our product ending in September of 2020, we were able to see that Shaka Tea shows that we are the #1 natural brand of monk fruit sweetened RTD, ready to drink iced tea on the market presently. And we're #3 in terms of non-caffeinated teas. At the same time, we've also been able to pull our IRI data, and even during the most challenging COVID year, we've been incredibly fortunate to grow, and we are in the top 5% of fastest growing beverage brands, period, across the nation and across all sectors. And what's really, really exciting is to see that number of our SKUs, our flavors, are right there nipping at the heels of Coke and Pepsi and the really big beverage brands. So very nice affirmation that our product works and customers are responding to the offerings of Shaka Tea. So here's a small look at just some of the doors we're in and the type of turns we're seeing. This has been a year of complementing broadline distribution with the Unify and the Kahis of the world with direct service distribution. We've signed a number of DSDs, and even since I made this slide, we've actually added 3 more that aren't even on this list. And here's just a small case study of how Shaka Tea performs. One of the big things we care about at Shaka Tea is really ensuring a health for all mentality. We're not only going after premium customers, we're going after all customers. 1 in 2 Americans is diabetic or pre-diabetic, and we're really proud that through the simple, humble act of sharing a 0-gram sugar full flavor tea, we can hopefully improve people's health on a daily basis. So in August of this year, we launched into the Colorado Rocky Rocky Mountain region. We had a 0% ACV. We weren't in any stores there. And what's really incredible is we were able to see that whether we were at a Walmart where we have an EDLP of $198, a truly accessible price point, or at a Whole Foods market where we're $229, our product moves off the shelf. We're a small company. We just hit employee number 10 in terms of our size and scale. We don't spend on advertising. And what we saw launching during a COVID year, and again, with literally no marketing support, just being in the field, that in the Walmart stores, we are moving a phenomenal average 40 units per SKU per week. And in Whole Foods, we're moving 17 units per SKU per week when we're on promotion and 11 units per SKU per week when we're off promo. So clearly this shows that Shaka Tea works across all different customer bases, demographics. We can launch in a market with very little brand awareness and win on shelf. Really important to us, and especially myself as a multi-ethnic female founder, is a culture of inclusivity. Shaka Tea has launched all our point of sale marketing materials, both in English and in Spanish. And when we launch in new accounts and new markets with retailers, we're able to offer a robust marketing plan to support in-store execution. So as we look ahead, when we're talking about 2021, again, a really exciting year for us. We just got into a number of key retailers pitching right from here, from my living room in Hilo, doing Zoom pitches all across the country. We're really excited to share that we got into all 9,000 7-Eleven doors. We got into all Nectar juice bars, all Wakefern stores. We're going to be distributed by Nestle Waters North America Home Delivery, Ready Refresh for the state of California. We've gotten into a number of Sprout stores, Bon Appetit for campus and corporate and hospital dining, as well as HEB. So that's just a small look, and pitch season isn't over until mid-December for beverages of where we'll be launching it next year. And we're projecting next year to be a $5 to $7 million year, a phenomenal year for growth for Team Shaka Tea. So what we're doing right now is we are raising $3 million via a note with an $18 million cap and 20% discount. And this is going to go to directly support our account execution. This is going to be hiring. We've been really honored to make hires during this pandemic and this recession. A number of our new team members were out of work. They've joined the team and they are totally kicking butt in store and in market. We're also going to use some of this funding to support e-commerce. Totally being honest, before COVID, e-commerce was not a big part of our business. What we've seen now that we've begun to focus on it, that we're getting an incredible return when we're doing some digital ad targeting. So really excited to grow that. We also have a number of new products in R&D that will further serve needs and feedback that customers and retailers alike have been giving us. And it's always nice to have a little bit of money left over because of contingency. Who knows what will happen? And this is going to directly go again to support all the new account launches. And then we have a number of doors that you see bolded from Kroger to Target, Publix, Wegmans, Tops, AMPM, Sam's Club, and Costco in the mix that we are pitching as I speak. So ending with our core company value, which is to be the aloha you wish to see in the world. Aloha being that kindness, that goodness, that humility, and that respect. And we're really honored to be here today, sharing our story with you and our pitch deck. And as we enter 2021, tongue twister for me, clearly 2021, we're really, really excited to just perpetuate being the aloha through our healthy products, our commitment to our community, price accessibility for all, and health for all, and continuing to championing sustainable agriculture and economic abundance in my home. Mahalo, and thank you so much for hearing my pitch.
Bella, thank you so much for that presentation and congratulations on all of your successes. Judges, I apologize, we do not have samples for you today, but I'm eager to hear your thoughts. Let's start with Stacy.
Samples would have been great. I looked at all your stores though, so I can see where I can go out and buy it in my area. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Stacy.
Sorry if I missed it, but if you're selling at $1.98 in Walmart, what's your profit margin on that?
Yeah, we're at a slightly over 50% manufactured margin. The way our product works is we pay farmers locally $20 a pound for dried mamaki leaves, our lightweight hero ingredient. And then we ship that ingredient to North America and Japan, where we co-pack it. And that's why we're able to be at such a great margin. If we were to manufacture everything in Hawaii and then ship it across the Pacific Ocean, that wouldn't be A, super environmentally friendly, or B, very profitable. And working and being a very small company, my husband and co-founder has been had an extreme amount of attention to detail, like a half a cent to save on a label or a bottle cap. We've never outsourced all of this. So we've just had a really, really good, handle on, COGS and keeping that in check.
Thank you. You answered my next question because I was going to ask you about manufacturing and shipping those glass bottles. So thank you.
Jason, what are your thoughts?
Great presentation. I do wish bottles were here to be served, but like Stacy, I will be checking the stores and Walmart and Whole Foods for a product.
Yeah.
But, it's great to see that you're operating at a 50% margin. Question, I know there's a slight price differentiation between Walmart and Whole Foods. I can see that's not really cutting into your margin much. Is there a difference between the units that you ship to either one of those?
There's not a difference in the units. But I think at the end of the day, what we've seen with a customer like a Walmart is you just move a lot more volume.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're able to often offer a better price.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. But it's been a unique position because, when you look at most better for you beverage brands that have launched the past 3 to 5 years, they tend to be at really inaccessible price points and then really focused on more affluent customer bases. And with our commitment to health, inclusivity, and diversity, we're like, let's go and, go after markets that typically better for you beverages are an early stage marketing to. And it's been a wonderful and very loyal audience for us.
Okay. Great. And my second question would be, given the pandemic that we're going through right now, what lessons learned have you incorporated thus far?
Yeah, that's a really wonderful question. I think the biggest thing we've learned is just the importance of relationships. Prior to COVID, I was on the road 15 to 20 days a month doing pitch calls, pitching our accounts to retailers, meeting new people. I live in a very small town, barely 70,000 people in a quite remote and rural area. And operating from here meant to get business done, one had to be on the road. So during COVID, our team has been amazing at using LinkedIn to meet new buyers, virtual trade shows, and really operating from a sense of how can we be of service to the retailer? Our right, we don't just have a right to get on their shelves. They are stressed out. They're filling urgent critical needs as the nation fights this pandemic, and they have a lot of important things and core food to keep there. So really going and coming from a place of service minded business has been really, really effective. And we just work with a really, really gritty, focused team that's full of humility and a commitment to excellence. So just being in touch and always asking retailers, here's my product offering, this is me, but now how can I be of service to you and your needs? And understanding sometimes things take time and not to be too pushy. And then on the second part to that is actually the tremendous opportunity with e-commerce. As I mentioned prior to COVID, it really hadn't been a focus. We redid our website. We've launched a regular newsletter. We're beginning to advertise probably since late August, doing Instagram and Facebook ads, and we're seeing amazing conversion rates. Basically, every dollar we spend, we get $1 back, and customers sign up for subscriptions that are ongoing. So, a really exciting, opportunity for us to focus on in the future.
Excellent.
Saron, what questions do you have?
Great. First off, agree with what the judges said. It's very impressive what you've done so far. I think it's great that you have an authentic brand, a unique ingredient story, and I think you're on all the right side of history trends when it comes to health and wellness and what people are focused on. So I think that's all great. I guess I had a follow-up question to Stacey's. So you said you make a 50% manufacturing margin. How much are you spending on distribution? I don't know. Is that included in the 50% or is that separate?
Out of the warehouse after we've had all the cost of goods in the manufactured, probably once we're spending all in, we're taking home about 34. Next year, we should be up to 40 because as you scale and get bigger, costs go down. And what's really been important to us, and we've been quite lean and not deeply funded since we were founded nearly 5 years ago, is really building a business that's on the path to profitability. We hear stories of beverage brands that do 70 million a year in sales and they're still not profitable. So by 2022, we should be profitable, which is a really exciting thing for us.
Yeah, that's impressive. I think you see a lot of these direct-to-consumer brands that are burning tons on marketing and other things, and they don't make money, but it's impressive that you guys can get to profitability so quickly. I guess I had another question, because you guys are first to market with this unique ingredient. So if I think about like kombucha or some of these other large beverage products, there's a lot of branding on the bottle about the ingredient, and then they had to build up marketing and awareness about like what are the health benefits, what's the story around the actual product. Are you guys doing any of that marketing or educational awareness? And when you think about your packaging, how are you I would love to try it. I have not gotten my hands on one yet, but I would just love to understand how you guys tell that ingredient story to somebody who may just be seeing it on the shelf for the first time.
Oh yeah, and that's such a great story. And if we could go back to the first slide, that will help illustrate what I'm about to say. So as you can tell, I'm totally in love with where I'm from, my commitment to my community, sustainability. But when we first launched, we actually told the Mamaki story on the front label of the bottle. And what we learned quickly is when you were first to market, that's kind of like, what's that? So we updated our labels last year when we realized that, the lowest hanging fruit were what we call mindful eaters. So someone that's keto, plant-based, diabetic or pre-diabetic, or just watching their sugar. Those are the big, quickly, you've got barely 3 seconds when they're in a grocery store to get their attention. And we moved the Mamaki story to the back, and sales just took off because at base level, we are Shaka Tea. So when you see it, even if you don't know the brand, you're like, okay, it's something that's tea. Maybe it's tropical. Maybe they don't know what Shaka is from Hawaii. But anyway, all that being said, really being clear on that front label, as you can see there. So it's like 0 calories, carbs, sugar, 0 caffeine, plant-based. That's just changed everything for us. And that was actually direct feedback we got from some of our really supportive first to market retailers. They're like, our customers like it, but they're spending too much time wondering what this is. And then, definitely the customer, when they turn the back label of the bottle, that's where they learn about the unique sustainability story and what the Mamaki leaf is. I think as we mature as a brand, once we execute on 2021, our ACV nationally is growing, that would be a great time to further go deep dive on the ingredient. But at present, it's all about just selling through and performing on shelf. And it's that mindful eater and communicating that way as sort of that first chapter intro to Shaka Tea that's really making, the sales.
Got it. And just one last question for me. You guys are piloting through a lot of distribution. You have great relationships, it seems like. How do you think about balancing succeeding in all those pilots and selling on shelf in every retailer so that way you scale and grow with them, like going too broad quickly versus crushing it with Walmart and Costco and Kroger, like the really big guys? I'd just be curious to get your take and supporting those players with marketing instead of spreading it across lots of individual pilots. Yeah.
Wonderful question. So what we're doing is really going a regional approach. We built up a team on the West Coast, Rocky Mountain region, and then Tri-State East. So when we're talking about these national retailers, rather than going to every single one, which would be not very prudent or wise, nor do we have the resources financially to execute, we do have enough Mamaki in the ground now. And we actually have a wait list of farmers. I would love to get them off the wait list because now everyone's heard about what we pay and all the good it does for Aina, the land, and they want to grow Mamaki. But all that aside, definitely going to regional focus first, where we have team members. What we've learned, it's all about boots on the ground execution and having team members that are managing in those markets, the distribution and building up the rapport with both the distribution reps as well as those retailers. And with that attention, that's how we're able to see such great velocity turns, sans advertising, sans marketing. obviously during the COVID era, we haven't even been able to do sampling. So that's really been our focus. And then going back to price accessibility, again, like we tend to be at least $1, if not more, affordable than a kombucha and many of the other botanical, better for you brands. And now more than ever, people are shopping with their pocketbook. It doesn't matter if you're in a more premium retailer or a value-driven retailer. So, you know, our product, the price point, that offering, it really, we're very fortunate that it's working even in a pandemic moment.
Great, thank you. Very impressive.
Thank you so much.
And Jonathan?
Sure, Bella, that was a great presentation. I had never heard of Shaka. Now I feel like I've tasted it, even though we didn't get the free samples. But you know that you'll be getting 4 purchasers here from this panel of judges. But really enjoyed the overview here. I was thinking, okay, what company does this look like that I've seen in some sort of professional context? And I thought back to Yasso. So Yasso is a Greek yogurt company. They made kind of a Greek yogurt popsicle that was healthy. It was frozen Greek yogurt, had a lot of live bacterial culture health benefits and things like that. And they were selling through some of the same types of retailers that you're selling through, and they were going through this amazing growth rate, and yet they were starved for cash at the same time. They had good margins, but they were growing themselves into bankruptcy because the cash conversion cycle was very challenging. They were growing, but they weren't getting the money in quickly enough to replenish their stock of inventory. And as you've probably been warned, the fear of a stock out is very high. If Walmart says, hey, we need 1 million of these and you can't deliver, you can wind up in the penalty box pretty quickly. So what they had done was they went out and found a hard money lender that was basically doing purchase order financing or AR financing for them so that they could keep up with their flow, but they were paying over 20% interest on that money, and that partner was very unfriendly too. So they got stuck in a bind, and I'd say it makes sense to think very carefully about what you would do when you hit that inflection point and say, okay, do I have a financing partner that will allow me to triple my production right now? Or am I willing, on a kind of controlled basis, to make a bunch of extra product so that I've built up a bank of inventory and I'm ready to go when that happens? So I think some of the thought process, if you were making beer that had a 30-day shelf life because it had no preservatives and then it would go bad, building up a bank of inventory is not good because you have a lot of waste. Do you have a plan in mind for what happens if you get that? It's a nice problem to have, but it's a problem that has bankrupted many companies. What happens when the huge order comes in?
Yeah, well, really good points, and something we definitely think about a lot, partially why I have insomnia and have to avoid caffeine once I hit the afternoon. But all that being said, what we have been able to find is we have PO financing in place. We have pretty good terms, but it still is a lot of interest. So hence we're raising capital because, we're talking to strategic potential investors to come in for this round to support that. But, in the event like there was something major, there is PO financing, albeit with a higher interest rate. On the second thing is that one of the things we learned really early on, because we did mess up in some retailers when we launched, is when to say no. We know that we need people. So we are really good at saying no. It looks so cool and exciting with all the retailers, and it is very exciting. But again, we're taking a focus on primarily the coast through the Rocky Mountain region, where we have staff and people that put their heart and soul into this business every day to really support those accounts and manage the distribution, especially as we move to a direct service distribution that tends to be better suited for beverage. So that's really important for us. And then, we're just aiming to ensure that at any one moment, there's not one retailer that is more than 5% of our total accounts. What's been great with Walmart is we are authorized nationally nationally wherever we bring on DSD distribution. So it's not that we're in schematic everywhere. So as we bring up DSDs, which of course we're building our team, then we can strategically launch and execute.
Right. And then also just building on some of Sharon's comments, I think I only see the front label, but when I look at the front label, I say, okay, does this really capture all of the energy and positive benefits that Bella's talking about here? And saying keto is probably more important than saying mamaki, which I've never heard of. But if it was keto sweetened with monk fruit and mamaki, something like that, I think it would help differentiate you from what you don't want to be, like Arizona iced tea brewed in Long Island. There are all sorts of teas that have interesting cultural packaging, but really they're not. Like Tito's vodka. Oh, it's made in Texas. That's cool. It's not made in Texas. It's made in Nebraska. It's bottled in Texas. But I mean, you can actually, and I'm making up words because I don't know. I mean, is it the mamaki is fermented in Hawaii, or it's dried, or it's infused? If there's something like that you can indicate on the bottle that, hey, some element of this tea actually did come from Hawaii, and I'm pronouncing it the Hawaii, but if there's some way to kind of reference the real heritage there, above and beyond saying Shaka Tea Hawaii, I mean, I think that might help your marketing push, and frankly, I mean, Hawaii is so hungry for net exporters.
Exactly.
That you look at Hawaii and Puerto Rico, there's very little that they export back to the mainland or to other countries, and I think it's in the public interest for Hawaiian economic development to support those kinds of things. So I mean, I would definitely tap into those sorts of programs.
Yeah, and I wish I had been able to send everyone bottles. And obviously, shipping liquid is a bit more expensive, so it's not unit cost as good as it is in stores. But code is Shaka20 on our website if you want to order some and just have it delivered to your door. And you see on the back of the label, that's where we really get into the romance and the heritage of our story and tell that mamaki incredible piece. But absolutely, in terms of like the export, I mean, that's the biggest challenge we have here. And I think when we reflect on, post Big Ag, which was really exploitative. I mean, people weren't paid well, and it was monocropping, heavy pesticide use when I was little in the late 80s and into the mid 90s with sugar cane and pineapple. Then you kind of look at post that, what have we been doing? And it's been premium crops. So the Shaka model is a whole new model for economic abundance and sustainability, and that's by paying the farmers a premium. Most of my farmers are 1.5 to 2 acre family farms, which is absolutely incredible. And we just kind of centralize the drying at our facility in Hilo, and then it's just a different way to think about things because we produce at the end of the day a product that's not $30 for a little pack of very expensive premium coffee or macadamia nuts. This is something that people on the continent and now as well as in Japan can actually enjoy at a price point that is an everyday usage occasion. So again, very different model that what Hawaii has been doing in terms of export, but I think it's one that has just tremendous potential to do the most good in our community. And then at the same time, frankly, built the biggest business opportunity because more people can afford an accessibly priced product.
And judges, I'd like to get your feedback in a lightning round speed of advice and comments and any final questions.
I'm so impressed with your presentation. My advice, again, just, I cautioned a previous presenter is just be careful of the amount of debt that you're requesting. There's not a breakdown here of what percentage of the company you're prepared to give away, but I just want to be sure that you're not taking on more debt than you can afford to pay, and be willing to give up a portion of your company if it's going to produce the funds that you need to be able to hit those growth numbers that you're talking about, especially since you're not profitable yet. So
thank you. That's good advice.
Jonathan.
I would recommend looking for a strong board member or two who have scaled a consumer food and beverage product before. And it doesn't matter if it was a tea, but people that have gone through these. And I think given where you're located and given the larger community impact of your company, you could probably attract numerous people from that with that background who are not in it for the stock options or the monthly retainer or the free lunch. They're in it because they want to share their experience with an entrepreneur who's doing something good. So I mean, this you don't have to think about giving up equity in exchange for the right board member. I would look for the right board member. You know, find 5 people that have been successful and say, hey, I'm not going to you for financing. I'd like to get to know you, and maybe you could help me think about my long-term growth strategy, and I've got a good thing going on, and I don't want to mess it up. So I think if you reached out to people like that, who maybe they're billionaires or maybe they're not, but people that actually have the right experience, who have achieved success, and maybe even better yet, who have achieved success and failure, you could have a compelling case there to build up your board.
Thank you.
Saron, what questions do you have?
Yeah, great job on the presentation today. I think similar to what Jonathan touched on earlier, I just think you do have a really great product and you want to be able to scale that successfully. And so I would just make sure that when you look at all parts of your business, you know how exactly it's going to scale. When you think about your co-man network, are they all ready to scale up production as quickly as you want? Do you have them in the right regions? When it comes to your DSD network, do you feel like you have good partners? Are they going to deliver on time to Walmart because you don't want to screw that up? And so I think you have a ton of opportunity ahead of you, but just thinking smartly about, just making sure you execute and owning this part of the market because you're first to market. So if you can block up all those accounts, they're unlikely to have multiple Mamaki teas. So if you could be that brand, that's wonderful. But really impressed and wish you the best of luck.
Thank you. Thank you so much, judges.
Jason, what are your thoughts?
Yes, I think Jonathan hit a great point in terms of finding a key board member with industry experience and also failure in there as well. That success and failure, helps you out a lot because one of the key things that you see in this industry is that to the points that was mentioned earlier is the rapid growth. Like you make too many commitments up front, and then once that large order comes in, you're not able to make that. You're in a penalty box, especially with key players like Walmart. They're known to do that. So you just want to make sure that you have the right people, supporting you on the back end to give you that advice to let you know, what's a good deal and what's not a good deal, because you do have a wonderful product and, I want to see it succeed.
Thank you. I'm going to be board member hunting. That's what I'm definitely getting out of this, and really crossing my T's and dotting my I's in terms of scaling and where we're growing.
Thank you again, Bella, and thank you to all of our presenters today. Of course, thank you to our judges for participating in this gentler, kinder Shark Tank. And that concludes the presentation portion.